Hi, I'm Albert Dittis, welcoming you to another program of Truth and Wellness. I'm glad to have with me as my guest today Officer David Cole of the Dickson, Tennessee Police Department. Officer Cole has been talking with us here before about crime prevention, but today we have a special need to talk with you, Officer Cole, because we've heard on the news about a terrible incident of violence in the State University in Oregon. Roseburg, Oregon, I guess, to be particular. And this, unfortunately, is nothing new. But I guess we need to hear from people like you on how to handle situations like this. You know, what do you do if you're in school and somebody just starts shooting and you're, completely unprepared?
And without going through the whole entire program by any means, we do teach a response to sudden violence class at the Dickson Police Department. And basically, it comes down in a nutshell if something like this happens. And we live in a time and a day now that this very well may happen right here in our backyard. Antioch, it just happened. We just had a shooting in Chattanooga, now in Oregon. Basically, if you'll remember three things: run, hide, or fight. So when you hear what you think is gunshots, it's not the time to sit and tell yourself, well, that may be firecrackers. It may be just fireworks themselves. You need to run away from that sound and call 911 and say, I'm hearing shooting. I'm hearing what I think is shooting. And let the police respond and investigate that. So if you can, if it's where you can get out, run and get to a safe location and then call 911. The second option is if you can't run, if the shooting is coming from a portion of the building or the property that you're on, but you can't get by without passing that particular shooter and there's no other option for you to get out, the biggest thing for you to do is hide. And when I say hide, I don't mean just climb under a desk somewhere. Get into a secure location as you can. Get into the room and shut the door and actually physically lock that door. Put as much stuff in front of that door that you can find, whether it's a desk, a couple of filing cabinets. Get all this, everything that you can, and get up against that door, and it makes it harder for that attacker to open that. And the third option is to fight. If you're presented with that thing with the shooter is just right in front of you, you're trying to get away, and all of a sudden you round the corner, there they are. Well, if they already have shot other people, know that they're probably going to shoot you. So the only option that you do have at that point is to fight and use every ounce of strength. There's a book out called Violence of Action. That's the time to use all the violence in your body. Do whatever you can basically to survive. So those are the three components of that. But also when you do hide, that is of course a good option if you can't run. If you do hide, when you get into the room, lock the door, make sure that you do lock that door. That's important, because if you look, and I believe it was the Virginia Tech shootings a while back, the shooter, and this is a known thing and it's out, the shooter actually went to a door. There were people inside. They did lock it and they did put things in front of it. The shooter tried the door and was not able to get in, so he didn't want to waste time. He knew he had a goal in mind. He wanted to create as much havoc as he could. So he tried the door. It was locked, so he immediately went to the next door, which unfortunately was unlocked, and there was a whole bunch of students in. He went in the door and actually executed every person in the room, then killed himself. So it is very, very, very important to actually run or hide, but put things in front of the door. Turn your cell phone down on mute, where you can't even hear it vibrate. And then, of course, fight if you have to.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that many classrooms seem to have closets. And
A
that's
closet,
one place you can go into.
Sure, as long as there's some way for you to maybe secure that door, secure the closet. The good thing is get yourself behind other things and be quiet once the door's secured. But again, get as much stuff as you can. If you're fortunate enough to be in a room with other people, remember a long time ago, back in a darker part of our nation, when people thought people were witches and things, and the whole town came together and they would fight together against a perceived bad. That's the same concept of the fight. When you fight, if there's more than one person in that room with you, you all fight together. Not one person just sit there and watch while everybody else does. Everybody jump on that bad guy and do what you can to stop them. Know that one person may get hurt, but know that you're probably helping to save 5 or 6 or 7 other people in the room with you.
And I think some teachers have been in this category that kind of put themselves in front, and
absolutely,
they lost their lives, but
yes,
saved the lives of a few kids. Well, my gut reaction in fight is to try to knock the gun out of the guy's hand. But I don't know, In a situation like that, it requires a lot of self-control and composure, I guess. You know.
Just also think of all the weapons that you have at your disposal in a classroom atmosphere. You have chairs, you have pencils, you have pens. A pen can be a stabbing type instrument to impale someone if you needed to. And when I say that, I'm not saying hit their hand with it. Don't hit them lightly and say, hey, stop that.
Yeah.
Run it through their eyeball if you have to. I know that sounds bad, but you've got to stop them from doing what they're doing. So if you look at a deer that has the will to survive after it has been shot, and a lot of the times the people will have to track those deers for a long way because they do have that will to survive. If you have a shooter in there that has a will to survive up to a certain point, he'll create mass havoc and continue shooting people until he is finally stopped by either the police or by himself or by that person he just ran into that doesn't want to give up.
Yeah. Well, they're obviously full of fight. It seems though like most of them, at least what you hear on the news, take their own lives after they've done all the damage they can do.
Most of them have that mentality. If you'll look back throughout all the ones that we've had in the past, that most of them will come in and shoot as many people as they possibly can because they want their 15 minutes of fame. They want to be on the TV. They want to be copycat serial killers, if you will. And then all of a sudden, when they are presented with the police, knowing that the police are going to shoot them, they don't want the police to wound them. They want to actually die because of the simple fact that they're going to spend the rest of their life either in prison or they're going to be through the appeal process. So they're going to take their own life most of the time. That's not 100%, but most of the time they will.
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate, but that's the only way some people can get on television, I guess, or
Sure.
radio, something negative.
And there's a lot of different reasons why they do it. Most of them are just deranged individuals. There's no easy way to say that. Most of them have some kind of a mental type problem, which has been addressed in the media here recently. So there is no easy answer for this.
Yeah, well, yeah, we live in a complex society.
Absolutely.
But now we're talking with Officer David Cole of Dickson, Tennessee, and now you have, of course, crime prevention is your job.
Sure.
You're trying to head off this kind of thing,
Yep.
which I'm sure you have, and no telling how many bad incidents you've prevented.
Well, we like to hope
But
so.
you were saying, yeah, you have kind of a hunter education program where you
We do.
deal with guns. How does that work?
The hunter education, if you're born, I believe the date is January the 1st, 1969. If you're born after that day, if you're going to hunt in the state of Tennessee, you have to complete a hunter safety course, which is a minimum of 11 hours in the classroom and also includes a safety shoot. The safety shoot is a very simple process. But what you'll do is you'll go to what I always teach, a traditional class. We teach a lot of different components in our hunter education safety class. One of them is gun safety. We talk about, does it matter where you point the gun? Yes. When you shoot that bullet, when you pull that trigger, does it matter where that bullet goes? Absolutely. But one of the biggest things that I really enjoy doing, which makes a huge impact to the children, and I always pick a little girl to do this. I don't ever pick a little boy anymore. Boys are destructive, if you knew that. I pick a little girl, and what I'll do is I'll take a can of shaving cream, and all these students right here watching, take a can of shaving cream, and I actually put just a big lump of shaving cream in their hand, and then I get somebody, a boy generally, to be a timer, and I get them to time me for 15 seconds, and I say, your goal, I'm talking to the little girl, your goal is to put that shaving cream back in that can. Well, the boy, I say, okay, ready, go. Well, the little girl sits there and looks, and they're analytical. They sit and think about it. Little boys, they'll slap it real hard and try to splatter stuff everywhere, and it makes a mess. But, of course, after 15 seconds, the shaving cream is not in the can. So the moral to that story, of course, is once you pull the trigger, you can't call the shot back. You can't put it back in the gun.
Yeah.
It's gone. And wherever that muzzle was pointed is where that bullet's going to go. And you can use that same concept with a BB gun. You can use it with a bow and arrow. Once you let the arrow go, it is going wherever it was aiming at, and there's nothing that you can do at that point to stop it. So you better hope that you were pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, right. Or at the target,
Exactly
the deer
right.
or whatever it is they're hunting.
And we teach a lot of ethics. We teach tree stand safety. We teach the ethical side of hunting. We teach, Aldo Leopold was the father of modern day wildlife, and he basically said ethics, according to wildlife, is doing the right thing when no one else is around. Even if it might be legal, but is it right? And we talk to the kids in depth about the ethical side of hunting.
Well, what's unethical? What's an unethical thing they can do in hunting?
Well, believe it or not, if let's take for instance, and there's a video that I've watched before that's kind of funny actually. Someone borrowed somebody's property. Hey, can I borrow your place? Can I hunt? They said, sure. Just make sure you shut the gates.
Oh.
If they're open, leave them open. If they're shut, shut them. So this gentleman went out, and this guy's prize bull was in this field. He walked through and left the gate open. Next thing you know, the bull got out. That's not good. Or let's say ethical, say you have a duck and you're duck hunting and you have that duck stamp. And all of a sudden you see ducks sitting on the water. Now, it's not technically illegal to shoot them on the water, but is it right? Is it ethically right? Is it ethically right to shoot into a squirrel nest just to see if there's a squirrel in it or not? You know, is that ethical? Is it illegal? I don't think so, but is it ethical? So we address all those things. And we also look at, unfortunately in our society, we have a lot of people that think that guns kill people. And it's not the gun that kills the people, it's the person behind the gun. So a gun is simply a tool. A gun, if I took my gun, laid it in the middle of this floor right here, loaded it, cocked it, ready to go, it'll sit there until Jesus comes back. Unless somebody picks it up and pulls that trigger, it'll never do anything.
Yeah.
But it's the person behind the gun. And we try to teach the kids that as well. Guns are not the evil things. It's the person behind that gun that has bad intentions. So we teach them about gun safety. We teach them about ethics. We teach them about doing things in society. There's only about 5 to 10% of our society that actually hunt. The other people, most of them for the most part, don't care if you hunt or not, but they don't want you, say, take a bloody deer and put him across the hood of your car and parade around town with it. That's one of those things that people kind of frown on.
Yeah.
You know, those are the kind of things that we talk about. Tree stand safety, we had a local incident. We had a young man in our local, in Dickson, that was hunting, and the straps on his tree stand had faded over time because of the sun, the wind, the rain. And he got back up into his tree stand, and one of his straps failed because of that. And he fell quite a few feet, landed on both of his feet, totally crushed his ankles and feet. He had to have multiple surgeries. So if you can even imagine one foot being broke, he had both. And he is still, I mean, he's up walking today. It's a pained walk, I would imagine. But his uncle told me the other day he'll never, ever run again. And it was a tree stand accident. Could that be something that was prevented? I don't know, but hopefully.
Probably could have, but he probably used it so long. It's a tree stand. It's something he used to take for granted. And once it's there, and you go there, and it's always secure. Well, we've got to take care of ourselves, I guess, even when we're hunting under positive circumstances, as well as maybe being in the pathway of an invader in school.
Sure.
Have you had any problem with violence in the Dickson City schools?
No, we've actually been very fortunate, and we have school resource officers in our high school. And we also have a school resource officer in one of our middle schools. And that has been a great deterrent for anybody. If somebody comes up there to do wrong, they know immediately when they see a patrol car there that the police are already here. So it's been a very good thing. Do we have parents that come in, they're upset about little Johnny getting a D on their test, or are they upset because the teacher made them stand in a corner for something? Sure, we'll have a parent get upset. But we have anything major? I have to knock on wood when I say that. No, we have not. So we have been very, very, very fortunate. And we actually prepare for those things. We do, and we try to address those things before they happen.
Well, I noticed that when something that happens like has just happened today, I guess out in Oregon, that it tends to make us more aware. I've noticed the schools I go to that there's safety things. There's doors locked that maybe weren't locked before. You have to press a button to get in and things like that. I guess it just kind of affects us all in one way or another, and makes us aware.
It's a different society we live in.
Yeah. Now we're going to just take a quick break. Stay tuned and we'll be back.
Hello and welcome. This is a health moment. I want to share some information I read in an article from Vibrant Life. That's a magazine about enjoying health and peace of mind that God intends for us. And this article tells us you can stop smoking if you have that problem. Even though tobacco is very addictive, millions of smokers have broken free. There are 10 steps that will help you break this addiction. First, you must properly prepare mentally, physically, and socially. Next, your decision will be easier if you get 8 hours of sleep each night, if you drink 8 glasses of water each day, if you eat a balanced breakfast every morning, and take a brisk walk twice a day. Be sure to ask your doctor for a clearance to begin exercising. Your success is going to improve if you eliminate the use of alcohol and caffeine, and if you eat more fruit and vegetables. Grains, fruits, and vegetables should be the foundation of your new menu. Third, you need to prepare mentally. You need to rehearse mentally how you're going to act when you become a non-smoker. I love being free from smoking. You need to repeat this frequently. I love being free from smoking. You'll need to politely avoid smoking and drinking friends during this period. Old friends just might pressure you to smoke with them. Keep a record. During this time, record every cigarette you smoke or every urge that you have to smoke. This will prove invaluable as you study your tobacco addiction. Keep all your cigarette butts in a sealable plastic bag to remind you of the pollution that your lungs have processed. Brush your teeth with mint toothpaste. Take warm showers. Hold something in your hands, and even join a support group. There are many other suggestions and hints for helping you stop smoking. You can stop. To receive this information and much more, how you can stop smoking, find us on our Facebook page or contact us at www.health-hope.org, and that's where you can request our free pamphlet from the Vibrant Life magazine.
Okay, welcome back. Glad to have you with us again. I'm Albert Tittis here in this program of Truth and Wellness, and today we're talking with Officer David Cole from the Dickson, Tennessee Police Department. This brings up the question, too, of gun control. Who should be authorized to carry guns? I know you're authorized to carry a gun.
Sure.
And but should school teachers, but that's probably different.
Well, I can give my own personal opinion. I don't believe that the school district should make or force any teacher to carry a gun, but I do believe, in my own opinion there, this is not the opinion of the Dickson Police Department, it's my opinion. My opinion is there are certain people in those school systems that if they chose, yes, I will carry a gun, I'll sign a waiver, I'll get my own insurance, or the school board pay for those insurance, whatever it takes. I know personally of I'm not going to say names or specifics because people will know who this person is. He's a retired military person. He probably is one of the most phenomenal shooters that I've ever seen in my life. He's very laid back, very quiet, and he's in the school system. I would not have a problem with somebody like that carrying a gun every day. Absolutely not, because that is going to be the first line of defense. But there are people adamant, well, I'm not going to have guns in the school where my kids are, and I understand that. But think about having a baseball bat in your room. Think about having a can of wasp spray in your room with you. Think about having some of that pepper spray type thing. Having something that you could use as a first line of defense if you had to. Of course, the first line of defense is to shut that door and lock it and turn the lights out and be real quiet.
Yeah, I'd never thought of those secondary
Sure.
items of defense. Yeah, that's something that people could have, and that's,
It's just a display item. It's not a weapon. It's a sports equipment.
Right. But at a critical time, though, it could deter
Absolutely.
a shot that would take a human life.
Absolutely.
But, well, that's just... Now, there's another program that you have here we need to touch on before our time runs out, and that's this Yellow Dot program.
The Yellow Dot program is something I'm very passionate about, and I'll turn that around for the camera to see that.
That's helping ourselves in case of injury or accident.
It is. And the Tennessee Yellow Dot program, this is a folder. Inside of the folder, you'll have a sticker. You'll have a medical information form. And there's a website, of course, with the state of Tennessee that you can go get this material. The best way to explain it, I always try to tell this one particular story, and I hope we have time to share this. The one particular story is we got a call of a drunk driver sitting at a red light. The light had cycled several times, green, red, yellow, and the person just sat there. So people were blowing the horns. People finally called 911. I think we got a drunk driver sitting here. So I get the call. I thought it was somebody maybe asleep at the wheel. I get up there. It was an older woman. So I activated my blue lights, go up, knock on the window, finally made entrance to the car. She was white-knuckling the steering wheel, holding on just as tight as she could. She was staring at the light. Couldn't get any response whatsoever. So I asked for an ambulance to respond. We had no clue what was wrong with her. We just knew something. She was not responsive. So we went ahead and put the vehicle in park, turned the engine off. And when the ambulance got there, they started checking her out and did several things. And finally, they checked her blood sugar. and it was at a 47, I believe, which is very, very, very low. So she was having some blood sugar problems. They went ahead and gave her a shot of the medication they needed, and she immediately came around, but they went ahead and transported her. So it would be really nice for something like the Yellow Dot program, which the state of Tennessee adopted several years ago, and we adopted a couple years ago. The Yellow Dot program is just this big yellow dot you put on the back window of your vehicle in the lower left-hand corner, and then you take the medical information form, you fill that medical information form out, and put all the pertinent information you can on it. You always put a bust picture from your chest up of yourself, put that on the paper. It'll tell you where to put that date, and also your name. Put it inside of the envelope and put that inside of your glove box. That way somebody like myself, if you're incoherent, you've been involved in an accident, you're unconscious, we at that time see that yellow dot on the back of your window. We know that there should be a yellow envelope in your glove box with all of your pertinent information, including your contact information for your family. So at that point in time, we can start making contact. We can update the ambulance service as they're on the way into you. Maybe something's wrong in your medical pass that you really need life flight or air evac helicopter coming towards you right now. We can read that on this form and pass that over to our communications, and then our EMA director can make that call. So we can have a lot of help to you in a short period of time with that information.
Yeah, and that might save some precious time.
Absolutely.
If, you're critical. So once you see that yellow dot in the back window, that tells you that you know exactly where to go, what to get what information you need then.
Yes.
Now, you were saying that Dickson is participating in this now.
It is.
Are all counties in the state participating in this? You're saying this is a statewide program. And by the way, I know DOT stands for Department of Transportation.
That is correct.
And that of course, covers all of Tennessee.
Sure. And the Department of Transportation Tennessee, they did put this program out across the whole entire state of Tennessee. Now, I know Dickson is on board. I know that. Now, I believe it's Perry County is on board, but there's yellow dots everywhere there. But can I say other counties are or not? I don't know. It is a program that has been put out. It's been hopefully from one end of the state to the other, but I can't say any particular county is or is not on board, but I do know that it is out there, and it's a free service through the state, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be.
How long has the state been offering this program?
I know that I was brought on board about 2 years ago. I was sitting down with another crime prevention officer that does the same job, and we all talk with each other trying to figure out different things we can do for our community, and he introduced this program to me. And I said, wow, that's definitely something. I was so excited about it. I got on the phone with the state. On the way back, I got a Bluetooth, and I called the state, and I said, hey, this is who I am, this is where I'm at. Can I distribute these? Absolutely. So I did all the paperwork, filled it out, and probably 3-4 days later, I started getting my shipments of yellow dot boxes.
Yeah, how many have you given out there in Dickson?
Wow, I'd say well over 1,000.
Oh.
Maybe even closer to 1,500. They come in boxes of 100, 150 at a time. I've ordered quite a few boxes.
Oh, well, you got a tremendous response then.
Yes, absolutely.
So that means, I guess, when you drive down the street there back home, you'll see these yellow dots on the windows. Huh?
And the drawback is, as many as we've handed out, you might see a dozen. You might go out and see a dozen in a day. So a lot of people, I believe, will take those yellow dots home, lay on their kitchen table, and kind of sort of forget about them for a while. And then all of a sudden, hey, I got one from you a while back. I can't find it. Can I get another one? Well, sure. But make sure you fill this one out and get it on your car.
Well, the force of habit. Well, you'll have to tell them, fill it out right now, put it on your car, or you're under arrest.
No, no, can't do that.
Yeah, that's not the way it works.
No.
But your job is safety and
Sure.
Prevention and heading off of problems. And it's interesting to see the department having someone like you devoting full time to this crime prevention and safety promotion to kind of head off trouble.
Yeah, a lot of the things we get, and I'm sure that you've heard this, is we get a lot of scams. We get a tremendous amount of them. The IRS scam, a different government person saying that their family is in, or their government is in some kind of a coup, and they've got $94 million, and if you'll basically open an account, put the money in there, you can keep $2 million for yourself, but they need your bank account number to put it in there for you. All that stuff is a scam, and that's part of my job as well, is to know about these scams and also to educate the community on how to prevent those. And I get quite a few calls. It's on Facebook quite often. The recent scam is Facebook has basically said that if you got to pay them $5.99, I believe, a year to keep all your information that's a hoax, and that generally comes up about every 6 months or so. The IRS scam, generally around tax season, it comes up. People call up and say, hey, we're the IRS and you're going to go to jail forever and ever. We're going to take everything you got, or you can pay this fine of this amount of money to this address, and we'll let you go, or we'll let you off. We get a lot of those, and again, that's part of my job as well, is to educate the community on those things.
Yeah, boy, that's a whole new question there. You know, what do you do when you fall for that? Some people, I guess, you can lose everything you've got, can't you?
You can. I took a report from a gentleman. He was an older gentleman that he got scammed. Well, then all of a sudden I took another report a few months later, and he got scammed again. Mm-hmm. Well, then I took another report, and this time we had to get others involved because he was actually in fear of his life, because he had gotten scammed, and when he didn't send the check, the people started threatening him. Right. And it was like, why do you keep falling victim to this? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And there are so many of them out there that it's crazy, especially on the internet.
Well, now that reminds me of another feature of this Yellow Dot program, we're talking about here. And that is, you like to have a picture, on the form you put in your glove box, so
Absolutely.
that they will know that this is you driving the car and not someone borrowing your car.
Absolutely. Or it may be your son or your daughter or your next door neighbor. So we don't want to have your information in that particular file, and you let your next door neighbor borrow your car. They have a crash, they're unconscious, and we think that it's you. So you need to have your picture. Basically, it came down that if your picture is not on the Yellow Dot information, we're going to toss it in the floorboard and keep going. We're not going to even mess with it, because we have no way of verifying 100% that it is you. So then we're going to go take a step back and treat you as they normally would, but we're not going to utilize the information that was provided. Of course, if you're perfectly healthy, have no medical condition, don't take any kind of medications, you're good to go. But if you do have medical conditions, especially something that would need to be known by emergency responders, that would be a good thing.
Well, Officer Cole, we thank you again for being with us today. Our time is winding down. I'm Albert Tittis, thanking you for joining us for this program of Truth and Wellness, and we'll invite you to be with us again next time, and reminding you that we have a Facebook page. You can find us on Health Hope TV.